So I'm riding in this big white van in the valley just north of Los Angeles. And I'm walking around with these big, heavy 50-pound boxes. And I'm going door to door giving people free paper towels and free soap to show off this really cool new product. And I see this sign above one of the doors that says, Mi casa es su casa. And I'm with my training buddy, Louis, and I say, oh, you should get this door. Maybe they speak Spanish. He said, no, you get it. So I knock on the door, and this guy answers in a towel, and he lets us in and gets dressed, and his name is Corey. And I say, you look really familiar. As a matter of fact, I think my girlfriend in middle school had posters of you on her wall. And an hour later, I'm selling a Kirby vacuum to Corey Feldman. Now, if you don't know who Corey Feldman is, he's kind of like the Justin Bieber of the 80s, maybe with a little bit more talent. So yes, I was selling Kirby vacuums door to door. It kind of sucked. So I'm in Corey Feldman's living room, and I'm like, how did I get here? This isn't why I moved to LA, and this certainly wasn't how the story began. I'm Brad Gorman, and this is How to Fake It in Hollywood. So let's go back a few years, maybe to high school. After band or theater practice, I would go to Roxy's in St. Joe and order $2 mozzarella sticks. And every time I went to Roxy's, I would play the same song on the jukebox, California Dreamin'. And I would dream of moving to LA to become an actor. I would dream of walking down the red carpet. I would dream of getting interviewed by Regis and Kathy Lee. So after my years of school and going to MSU, go green, I packed up everything I owned into my little red Chrysler LeBaron convertible with $600 in my pocket, and I moved across the country 1,800 miles to LA. I know, gayest car ever, right? And this is before I came out, which is a whole nother PechaKucha. So I got off the plane at LAX, and everybody felt so famous. I felt like a Miley Cyrus song. Everybody I met, I thought they were the next like Kirsten Dunst or Tobey Maguire. Everybody had a screenplay. Everybody did coke. That's a whole other PechaKucha. And I just had to figure out how to fit in. I felt mystified, yet a little out of place. I was enchanted. So I had to watch and learn. I had to read Backstage West to figure out where my auditions were. I had to call them films and not movies, because that's just what you do in LA. And I had to get headshots. Ugh, so many headshots. And I thought, this can't be hard. I should just watch and learn. Oh, headshots. They told me this was my Tobey Maguire headshot. Supposed to get me lots of work. And I had to stay for all of the credits at the end of films, because that's what you do to respect the people that were in them. But most importantly, above everything else, I had to do theater. So I went to audition for Right Act Repertory Company. It was literally right below the Hollywood sign on Hollywood and Vine. And I auditioned, and I went into this big theater for my audition, and there were two people that would determine my fate, Chris and John. And so I was in this giant empty theater, and this was my big chance. This is what I've been waiting for and planning for. And I delivered my monologue that I had practiced in college, and I finished, and the theater was completely silent. And Chris looked up at me, and he said, Brad, fixing your acting would be like curing cancer. I was devastated. And now this was before dream shaming was popular, okay? It was before American Idol, so I looked over at John, who was the Paula of the two. And John said, Brad, you've been here 3 times to audition. Yes. We've said no every time. Yes. Are you going to keep coming back till we let you in? Yes. He said, welcome to Right Act Repertory. So I was back in the game, new headshot. And I was in this theater company with real actors in real commercials and with, closeted gay men who were soap stars. That's a whole other PechaKucha. And I had to learn how to do theater and learn how to do plays. In my mind, I had no idea what was going on, but I figured if I watched and learned, I could figure it out. And I did this Shakespeare play called Cymbeline, and get this, the plot was so appropriate. I played a prince who got lost in the woods, only to find his way back home and find his true self years later. Seemed appropriate. And I was still doing this whole actor wannabe thing, and I got on this film set, and it was to the film 13. And Holly Hunter was in it, and I was so excited. And then Jeremy Sisto was like 10 feet away from me, so I ran behind this trailer, and I called my sister on my Razor flip phone, and I was like, oh my God, it's Jeremy Sisto from Clueless. Remember? Rolling with homies. I was really mature at that moment. And the director was looking for people to be featured extras. And my hand shot up to volunteer to be an extra, and she directed me in this scene. I walked right past the camera, and I checked out these two 13-year-old girls like she told me to do. It was Hollywood. And when I went to the opening night of that theater, and I saw myself on the big screen, I wanted to call Chris Goodman and be like, look who just cured cancer. Now, I heard at any given time there's about 200,000 people living in LA who move there to become actors. And I'm just one of those 200,000 stories. And I know being in a film for 1.5 seconds is no big deal, but it was the overcoming those obstacles that really meant something. And while I didn't make it to become a big celebrity, I did make it into a feature film. I joined an incredible theater company and had some wonderful experiences. And I also sold a vacuum to an 80s celebrity. But most importantly, I learned how to fake it in Hollywood.
That was Brad Gorman. Keep it going. Fantastic. Well done.